Did you have a chance to catch that interview with Dr. Phil and Donald Trump? I've got a few highlights to show you, but I got a few things to discuss before we get to the interview. I've been watching the response to the interview all day on X, Twitter, and I have to tell you, I'm seeing a seismic energy shift. As you know, Dr. Phil has been a fixture on daytime television for a long time, but I don't think anybody could define his audience as being MAGA people. The energy is shifting so much that it appears at this point that Trump is about to conquer TikTok, even though TikTok is doing everything they can to get rid of Trump.
We're on TikTok. What is your message to younger voters right now?
Well, the big message is vote for Trump. We're going to make our country greater than ever before. We had something going that was incredible and just horrible what's happened. This is the worst president in history, Joe Biden. And you look at it, even as a representative, he goes over to France and something happened that was not good. I don't know what it is. But we're going to make our country greater than ever before, and I appreciate all your support.
Thank you. And you'll never ban TikTok, that's for sure.
I will never ban TikTok.
At the last UFC fight, Trump got with Dana White and announced that he was getting a profile on TikTok. And ever since then, the numbers have been blowing up. He's almost at 6 million followers on TikTok, and he's destroying Dementia Joe. I don't use TikTok, it's mainly for younger people, but I have to say, I hope when Trump wins, and he's going to win, that he burns down the digital gulag. That gulag where certain social media entities decide they're going to suppress any messaging about Donald Trump. You can't even imagine the hoops that you have to jump through if you're gonna create content around Trump. And because the conviction didn't work, the censorship full press is going to get even worse. But as you also saw, the people are getting sick of it. Well, how bad did the conviction fail? How bad did it backfire? Dr. Phil put up a poll on his sites all across his different profiles across the digital media. As well, he asked his television audience what they thought about the conviction. Would they still vote for anyone who's a convicted felon? And the response was stunning. I mean, absolutely shocking. 91% of his audience said they would vote for a convicted felon. Let me go ahead and repeat that. 91% of his audience, people who responded, said they would vote for a convicted felon. While this is far from scientific, it's extremely meaningful. I don't care what kind of poll you're taking, but if you get a number like 91%, you can tell the conviction was a huge mistake for the Democrats. But don't worry, the media is just going forward with another hoax. They're not going to apologize. They're just going to keep moving on, doing anything they can do to try and trash Trump. And now the new hoax is that all of a sudden they're worried about Trump's revenge. That's odd. If you weren't worried about Trump winning, why would you be worried about what Trump's revenge would be? In poker, we call that a tell. We can tell that they are absolutely worried about Trump spanking Dementia Joe in the election. Deservedly so. Today we found out that Virginia is tied, and I don't even think it's that close. If Trump would be able to turn Virginia red, it would be the first time in 20 years that a Republican won Virginia. So their worry about revenge is deserved.
You're clearly sympathetic to Trump, but you believe that he should drop this talk of revenge. Did he commit to not pursuing that if he was elected president?
Why are they so worried about that? You see what I mean? Right away, Dr. Phil, you're interviewing Trump. What happened? Did he talk to you about, his revenge tour? Did he say he's not going to do it? Because, oh my God, we're terrified. We are absolutely terrified if Trump gets in and he's going to seek retribution.
Well, first off, I'm sympathetic to what Trump has gone through in this particular trial because I think it was not proper due process for him. I would say the same thing if it was Biden or anyone else in that process.
Now this is going to be perfect. Okay, watch this CNN talking head get absolutely beat down in only a style that someone who's got more intelligence could actually do. This is beautiful.
So I want to be clear on that.
Would you mind telling us, tell us why you think he didn't get due process. The proceedings, we had reporters in there, I was there for a lot of it. There was a judge and he adjudicated a lot of these questions. Why do you think he wasn't given a fair process?
There was a judge. There was a judge and he adjudicated something, so why don't you think it was fair? So, Abby, let me ask you a question. I understand you're a Harvard grad and everything. If that was the case, there was a judge? Why do we have appellate courts? Why do we have the Supreme Court? Sometimes a judge can get things wrong. So why are you acting so surprised that some people, myself, Dr. Phil, and others, many others, obviously by the poll, looked at this entire trial as a farce? Why does that surprise you? Because you were in the courtroom? Because there was a judge?
Well, I think it's a number of things. I think from a jury standpoint, and again, let me be clear, I'm not a lawyer. I look at it in terms of what the jury was given to solve this puzzle. And I think they heard some things that were very prejudicial that had nothing to do with solving the problem of the case at hand. I think there are some things that are considered black letter law or hornbook law that's just really not something that is controversial at all.
He's already stumped her. I can guarantee you with what she says coming up, she has no idea what he just said. She's hoping that somebody in the headset can bail her out. Hey man, what the hell did he mean by that? I don't even know what to say. Hey, help me. 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, Mayday, Mayday.
That was violated. I think you don't have someone that is considered to be an accomplice in a crime that has pled out or made a non-prosecution agreement and allow that information into the jury's awareness because it's very prejudicial and is not really probative of anything that they're asked to.
She went to Harvard, but he just blew her away. I'm sure she doesn't know what probative means either.
Be problem solving or consider.
Who are you referring to there?
Michael
Cohen.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil, I don't want to get too deep into the law here, but it is not uncommon at all for people who are accomplices to crime.
Don't do it. Please don't do it. You're swimming in the deep end of the pool here, honey.
Crimes, people who have taken plea deals, non-prosecute. That is not uncommon at all for those people to then testify in subsequent trials for their alleged co-conspirators. That's kind of how a lot of these prosecutions work.
She's telling Dr. Phil, who's involved with many criminal activity, not in terms of being criminal, but in terms of television shows. He counsels judges, he counsels police, he counsels psychiatrists who deal with criminals. She's trying to tell him how this stuff works. This isn't going to go well.
Well, really, give me examples of where that has been considered appropriate.
There's something. He just made a statement, and she has nothing to come back at him with.
I mean, look, prosecutors are prosecuting organized crime all the time, and in a lot of those cases, they are relying on co-conspirators to put people who are at the higher levels of the organization behind bars. I don't understand how you can say that because someone signed was not prosecuted, signed a non-prosecution agreement.
All of a sudden, she doesn't sound like she went to Harvard, does she?
That information or their testimony cannot be presented before the jury if they were a part of the alleged scheme.
Well, you'll have to give me an example to respond to because...
Boom, right back at you. You must have first understood or not understood what I asked you the first time. You got an example?
I just simply don't agree with that. I think it's not typical for juries to do this. I've spent most of my career
It happens in mob cases all the time. I don't understand. Look, Dr.
It happens all the time. I watch The Sopranos. I saw Tony Soprano get in trouble. Never mind. I'll just go on to another question because you've destroyed me and I have no comeback, and these people in my ear don't know what to tell me either. So let's just move on.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why you would think that Michael Cohen, who is a key person in a lot of the narrative here, should not have been allowed to testify in this case? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I said what I said. I think the fact that he...
I said what I said. Did you not hear me? Is your earpiece causing you not to hear out of that ear? That's not what I said, Shirley. Now, let me school you some more.
Made an agreement to say that he is guilty of the crime that the defendant is being tried for, prejudices the jury that, hey, here's someone that's supposedly an accomplice that has said, I'm guilty of this. That prejudices a jury about the person that's currently on trial for the same crime.
I have some quibbles with what you're describing as the same crime. Michael Cohen was not charged with falsifying business records. That he actually did not was not prosecuted for that crime.
She was lost. I don't understand why you invite a guest on your show and then you want to fight with the guest instead of maybe doing your homework and understanding how things actually work. But no, you get up there and you want to quibble, as she says, with a guy who's obviously got more experience at this than you. And so what she is saying is that they are terrified of Trump's revenge. And maybe they should be. If you saw my video yesterday, you saw how the laptop hoax just has gotten blown up because the FBI entered the actual laptop into evidence. I don't know how these people can look themselves in the mirror anymore, but they continue to lie and come up with different kinds of hoaxes. We no longer have a real media. All of these people are masquerading as reporters and journalists, but they're just political operatives. They absolutely disgust me. But as you know, as Trump's numbers continue to grow, it's only going to get worse. And with Trump out there taking the opportunity, every opportunity, to expand his base, to reach out to different audiences, this is going to cause the media over the next few months to go into overdrive with lies and hoaxes. So that's why it's important for Donald Trump to continue to look for those opportunities wherever he can find them, especially with audiences like Dr. Phil. It's working. The interview that he had with Dr. Phil went on for about an hour, and most of the interview played out like one of the Trump rally speeches. I'm pretty confident that you've heard most of what he says when he does these interviews. But in this interview, Trump spoke about some really different issues that you don't normally hear him speak about. Dr. Phil was awesome in getting him focused and asked him the same question 2 or 3 times so he could pull this out of Trump. It's a side of Trump that I don't think many people have seen before.
You know, we all have a personal truth. You know, it's that what we believe about ourselves when.
Now, just real quick, I have to do it in this manner and basically preview the audio over the video because of copyright reasons. But you're going to hear, you can specifically hear what Trump says, and you can obviously hear Dr. Phil in their exchange. So listen to what gets said here. It's really important.
We don't have our mask on. When we don't, you know, I put on a nice suit. You know, I'm going to see the president here.
Nice suit.
I want to be credible.
Looks good.
And we, you know, we put our best foot forward when we step out into the world. But we do have a personal truth that what we believe about ourselves at our most vulnerable, when nobody's looking, nobody's listening. Maybe it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We wake up looking at the ceiling, thinking, "What the hell am I doing?" What do you say to yourselves when the crowds aren't cheering? When you're home alone, you're riding in the car, you're by yourself. What is the hardest, darkest moment that you can think of in this journey you've been on the last several years?
In all of the interviews that I've heard Donald Trump have, I've never heard somebody actually get to the heart of things like this. Not with Tucker, not with Sean Hannity, nobody. I understand that, you know, Dr. Phil is a psychologist and he's really, really good at getting inside to people. But this part of the interview was maybe like 35 or 40 minutes in. All the other stuff, Make America Great Again, you know, Dementia Joe, Hillary, lock her up, all that stuff. We've all heard that. Raise your hand or say something in the comments if you've heard Trump answer a question like you're about to hear. I've never heard it before. So just to recap, Dr. Phil says when you're alone, in that quiet time, you're riding alone in a limo, you're on a plane and in your room by yourself where there's nobody else around. You're looking up at the ceiling. What actually goes through your mind? This is phenomenal Trump. This is Trump at his best. This needs to be played on every ad or commercial. Let people know, how do you feel with everything you've gone? How these people have trashed your life, how they've gone after your family. How do you feel?
You have to be very strong. You're fighting off very evil forces, and they're very smart forces. There are people that control Biden, totally true. I think I know who they are largely. But there are people that control him. They're very smart, very energetic. Possibly they're real believers, you know, what their sick ideology is. But you have to be smart, and you have to have confidence. I mean, you have to have a certain confidence.
Has there been blowback on Barron because he's younger and more vulnerable?
It's not easy. And he's a great kid. He's a good student. He's, you know, got accepted to different colleges. He's got some of those colleges, all of a sudden they're rioting all over the place. You know, you're saying, but he's a good boy. He's a tall boy. Very tall.
I love how he got him into Barron as a parent. And those of you who are parents and grandparents, you know what's most important in your life is your children. You can do anything you want to me. You can say whatever you want. There are two people you cannot, in my instance, there are two people you cannot go there. You cannot touch them. And that's my wife and my child. And now my grandchildren as well. Everybody, you want to throw shots at me? That's fine. He has taken all these arrows. But Dr. Phil got him to open up about these moments of quiet. What goes on in your family? What gets said? What's going on with Barron?
Very tall. And he's a great kid. He's a good-looking kid. And, he's going to be going to college. But he doesn't say it. And I think he doesn't say it because he doesn't want to hurt me. He thinks it's possibly a hurtful conversation. But it has to affect my family. And I think that's really unfair because I have a very good family. I have good kids. I have a wonderful wife. I mean, it's not easy for her to read this kind of stuff. That's fake. That's fake stuff. But that's the way it is. It certainly is not a good thing. And it affects me more than it would if it were just about me. I wish you could.
Wow. Have you heard that before? Anyone who's married and has loved ones understands what this guy must be going through. The internal turmoil of not only just dealing with all this legal crap. Yeah, that's part and parcel. He signed up to be a politician. He was a big businessman. But still, man, that cocoon, that sanctuary, they've invaded that. I mean, literally invaded it. They kicked in the doors of Mar-a-Lago. That's where his wife sleeps and his children played. They grew up. That's his inner circle. You should never penetrate that. I mean, everybody knows that Obama's kids, if you mentioned either one of them, the media would go crazy. Chelsea Clinton, people went after her because she stepped into the public view. Eric Donald Jr., I'm talking about, you decided to become public players, so at that point you're fair game. But Melania, that's just his wife, man. That I could not understand, have never understood how the media felt it was okay to go after Melania. Me, myself, whatever I think about Jill Biden, that's that man's wife. I'm not gonna talk about that man's wife. Say what you want. Say she's not a doctor. Say she was a home wrecker. I'm not going to do that. That's his wife. That's the person, whether we like it or not, when Dementia Joe is in that quiet moment himself, that's all he's got to turn to. I don't know, maybe because I'm a married guy myself, I find that to be sanctuary. And he's never talked about it this way in terms of how this all has been affecting his marriage and his children. And Barron, in talking about it in like Godfather terms, Barron's a civilian. There was some talk a couple weeks ago about him getting into politics, that he was going to go to the RNC as one of the delegates, and somebody said, no, you're a civilian. You will stay a civilian and get out of that limelight. You're too big. I'll take the shots. I'm dad. I'll be the one running interference. Do not want this on you, my son. I just thought that was something you probably haven't heard, but more to come.
Just about me.
How's she holding up through all of this?
I think good, but I don't think it's an easy thing for her. And I think if it wasn't good, she wouldn't want to tell me about it, to be honest with you, because, she sees that I'm fighting like hell. I'm trying to become president and make America great again. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again.
Let me ask you this. Right now, there are headlines out there that say, when you win your second term, that you are going to make the people that have come after you pay. Retribution and revenge.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's creating those headlines, because as you're going to hear, that's not something that's first and foremost in what he's been saying. In his interview, I believe it was with Hannity, he said, I could, maybe I should, but he never said that I'm going to. And in any event, if you feel that Dementia Joe is going to win, what are you worried about?
Let me ask you this before you even respond to that. I want to play what if with you for a minute. What if when you win this election, you said, enough is enough. Too much is too much. This is a race to the bottom, and it stops here. It stops now.
The only problem with that, and I think everybody watching this video feels the same way, if Donald Trump were to win, when he win, and he would just say, stop all this lawfare crap. Does anybody for an instant think that the Democrats would? Do you think that they would stop with, all these things that they've been doing? No, they fight to win. They fight to the end. They fight to the death. My concern is if he takes his foot off the gas and lets bygones be bygones, I don't think these people are going to stop. I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys think, but I think it'd still be play as usual for these people. They're not going to stop. They don't know anything else other than to fight, degrade, and attack. Nobody wants to actually do government work anymore. All they want to do is spend their time going after their opponents, going after the other side. So I don't know if it's even possible with people like Mark Elias out there just wanting to sue and do everything they possibly can. Tough order.
Made a half a dozen or more major attempts to take you off the playing board, and you just said, it stops now. I am going to rise above this cycle of ugly. I'm not going to play this gotcha retribution game. It stops now. I'll forgive. I'll not ever forget, but I am not going to play this retribution game. I am going to put the American people first, not getting my pound of flesh first. You got to do what you got to do, but I'm going to put this country as the shining city on the hill. I am moving forward. I'm not playing the retribution game. It stops with me. It stops here. What if you took that approach?
I'm okay with that. I am. I'm okay with that. Sometimes, I'm sure in certain moments, I wouldn't be. When you go through what I've been through, they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign. Remember I announced it?
From the day he came down the escalator, and he just said in this interview, and everybody can clip it, I'm okay letting go. Now understand what I think he means there. And I don't think I can speak for him, but what I think he means there is if I win, when I win, I'll stop this, but don't test me. If I see you putting bullets in your gun, if I see you getting ready to do certain things, I'm going to unleash hell on you. I think he's willing to stop it. He's like, I'm okay with that. He didn't say, I won't. I'm okay with that. Usually what that means is I'm going to holster my weapon, but I better see you holstering yours as well. Don't expect me to put mine in a holster while you're still, that ain't going to happen. So either we're going to put this down together and we're going to put it on paper and we're going to make sure there's a new law and we're going to get both sides together and say this ain't ever happening again, or you might get your worst nightmare, because that's what it's going to have to take. It's going to have to take a partisan bill in Congress saying no more of this shit. It's over. It's done. We are never going to put any politician, left or right, we are never going to put any politician through this kind of buffoonery ever again. If I put mine in the holster, you agree, right? You're going to put yours. But if you're sitting there going, yeah, we'll do it, but you're still holding this up, I think it's all bets off, as it should be.
They did things that people don't even talk about. And I got rid of Comey, and I got rid of a lot of people. Thousands of people. At the VA, I cleaned it, 9,000 people. They were sadists. I got rid of. But what they've...
Did you hear that? There's been a couple digs as he's put in here. True believers, said that. Evil, he said that a couple times. And now he said sadist. There's something he knows about these people. I personally think that is what they're more afraid of than anything. Those words weren't by accident. I almost feel like he's messaging to somebody going, I'll make this stop, but you're going to stop. And you're going to stop everything. And you know what I mean by everything. And if you don't like it, walk away. Just do what you need to do, because when I win, if I don't see you putting down and I don't see you stopping with that island kind of stuff that went on, if I don't see all of that stop, I'm coming for you. Personally, I think the island stuff that happened, you still need to go after them. They don't get a pass. That stuff, nah. I don't care what anybody says. That you hurt children, I gotta come for you.
Done is bad. With all of that being said, we have to unite the country, Phil. The country has to be united. This country is a mess.
Every situation needs a hero. What a great opportunity for you to stop this cycle, this vicious cycle of gotcha, gotcha back, Every situation needs a hero. What a great opportunity to step up and say, you know what, it stops here, it stops with me.
But the problem with that, Dr. Phil, is every situation that needs a hero, whether it be in war, cowboy movies, or whatever, you have to vanquish the other person. You have to vanquish the villain. The villain doesn't get to just be okay, hang out, head off on a vacation. You have to vanquish the villain. That villain has to be put away. And I don't think, I'd love for this country to be unified, but I've been seeing too many knuckleheads lately that I don't know if they can control the Frankenstein that these people have created.
I think you'll be impressed. We have to unite the country. We have to save the country. That's not really saving the country. There are people that did some bad things. I know who they are and all of that.
I know who they are and all of that. He knows who they are. That's why these people are quaking in their boots.
Retribution is going to be through success. We're going to make it very successful. We have to bring the country together.
And you can do that. We're better than this. We must be better than this. And you're big enough to do it. Every situation needs a hero. You can stop this. You can say,
well,
no,
I think
it ends here. It ends with me.
I think you'll be...
You got to watch what happens here. It's really funny. Just look at his face. I had to sneak this part in real quick so you could actually see it. But watch his face when he says what he says here.
Proud of the job we do. And, the word revenge is a very strong word, but maybe we have revenge through success. But that's what I'd like to see. I want to see the country survive, because this country is not going to survive like this.
The Pope has a book out that he's written, and he says, we are all brothers and sisters, and there must be no resentment among us. For any war to truly end, forgiveness is necessary. Otherwise, what will follow is not justice, but revenge. And that's true even in the cultural wars that we're fighting here.
Yeah.
I think you have so much to do, you don't have time to get
Here it
even.
comes.
You only have
Watch
time to
his
get
face.
right.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that.
It does.
And sometimes revenge can be justified, Phil. I have to be honest.
Did you see that? I'm pretty sure you did. Hey, Phil says, hey, listen, things take time. And Trump looks at him and goes, with a smirk, revenge takes time. We'll see what happens. That's the warning to all of the libnuts. I'm willing. Don't play me. Don't go there, because you might not like what you see. I'll give you the time. To stop all the craziness that you're doing. But don't for an instant think I'm not going to come for you if you don't do it.
Sometimes it can.
But is the country better or worse for them going after you?
I think the country is really worse for what they've done, and I think you see that when you look at the poll numbers. When you see that almost $400 million has poured in since this horrible decision was made.
Did you guys know that? Did you know that since the conviction, he has raised $400 million. He then went into San Francisco, I think it was last night, sold out, I don't know how they do these things, $500,000 a plate, raised another $12 million on top of the $400 million. Billionaires were on a wait list to get in. Let that sink in. There were billionaires who were talking on Twitter, saying, I couldn't get in. It was sold out. I want to cut checks. Dementia Joe's in big trouble. The Democrats are in big trouble. I mean, big trouble. I don't think these polls are measuring correctly whatsoever. I keep saying it. I think we're getting into landslide territory, especially if now they're even saying that Virginia could be close. So yeah, they're going to ramp up all kinds of things. They're going to ramp up the censorship. They're going to ramp up hoaxes and lies and everything else. They got nothing to run on. Dementia Joe is toast. Absolutely toast. Do you know that Joe Biden has had to fly back and forth to France to babysit this dude? You got Hunter on trial in Delaware. She's gone back and forth to France so that she could be there to handle him. That's how bad it is. It's insane at this point. And now these people are all like, oh my God, is he going to come for us? I don't know. What'd you do? I think the measure of retribution is based upon what you did and how you continue to act. Every single one of us was a child at one point, and we knew our punishment was based upon what we did, and our retribution was how do we move forward, well, that depends on what you actually did. Did you break a vase? Okay, that might mean one day. That's a problem. These people have all grown up. Many young people have not grown up under discipline. So I don't know how you're going to explain to these people, yeah, you screwed up, and now you got to pay the piper.
A few days ago, numbers that nobody's ever heard of in politics before.
You have rallied people. I had people in my focus group the other night that said, I have not voted for Trump before. I have not been a Trump fan before, but I have donated to Trump because he has inspired me. I have donated to him, and I am voting for him now, and I have not before, but he has inspired me.
Actually, it's been a beautiful thing to watch. Thank you.
Mr. President, it's been an honor speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Listen to
Thank
this.
That may have been the longest interview I've ever done. And you think Biden could do that interview? I don't think so.
He's right. There's no way that Dementia Joe could have sat through probably what would have been a 2-hour interview with production and everything they had to get set up. There's no way. And now they're expecting Dementia Joe to stand on a debate stage for an hour and a half and go toe-to-toe with Trump without notes. Good luck with that. If they don't cheat and give him the questions, I don't see how there's any possible way he gets through the debate. And as more and more people are exposed to the real Donald Trump, not the one the media talks about, you're going to see more and more people turn to Trump as their option for president in 2024. That's not good for Dementia Joe, and I believe the media can see that happening as well. There's obviously a long way to go before the election, but if Trump continues to broaden his base and expand his audiences, Dementia Joe can't compete, and the media can't cover for him. Let me know what you think about that part of the interview with Dr. Phil. I felt that was the most important part for you to see. If you want to see the rest of it, the link is in the description below. And one of the comments I want to get from you guys is, do you think that these appearances, like doing interview with people like Dr. Phil, are good ideas or bad ideas? Hey, just want to let you know that Donald Trump announced he's holding another rally, his first rally since a conviction. He's going to be doing it in Las Vegas on Sunday, June 9th. I'm going to go live at 2:30. If you'd like to join me, just click the button right here to be notified when I go live. And if you've been on any of my live broadcasts, you know we have a ton of fun. Hope to see you there. Click the button to be registered so you know when I go live. Talk to you soon.